All right, travelers, what's going on out there today? We are doing a full updated, pretty much it's July of 2022 for the Blender Builder plugin for No Man's Sky. All right, so that is where we are going to use a PC program to manipulate base building within No Man's Sky, lifting all limitations and giving you freedom to build really crazy stuff really quickly. Now, this program is pretty easy to get into. It is free. Easy to get into, easy to start using, tough to master, but you can get some pretty crazy results that will open up some eyes fairly quickly. So, with that all being said, welcome to this tutorial. I'm going to kind of just give a long-winded walkthrough for this, so bear with me here. I'm not going to script this or do anything really crazy for shortening it because I want to have the follies in the video when they come. Like if I'm just going to run into a problem, I want you to run into it with me. So go grab yourself a coffee, something to eat, and sit down with me, and we're going to go all the way through from installing Blender, the plugin. We're going to talk about which version of Blender you might want to use. Then we're going to go to Goat Fungus and get the save editor, and then we're going to get some tools for the save editor and the other. We're going to learn how to put in some add-ons and things like that too, and then we're going to do a quick build. So this will be a longer video. Go get that coffee, watch this intro, and I'll see you in just a moment.
Fucking No Man's Sky, play around. Motherfucker, if you don't know, go check it out. It's the Ma, quit leaving me alone. I'm trying to make a song, Mom. Stop it. Get out of here.
All right, guys, here we go. Thank you, me, for that great intro there. All right, so listen, man, I'm a little freaked out because what I did, this is what I'll tell you what I did. I took Revo uninstaller and I uninstalled Blender and every single thing that I had so I could bare minimum go back all the way to the beginning for you guys and go all the way through it. So I'm a little bit freaked out by that. So I have no idea. I didn't know that we were all the way to Blender 3.2. What I got rid of was a Blender 2.81, I think it was, and then a Blender 2.91 maybe. I don't even know. I didn't know that we were this far ahead. So obviously the other versions will work, and there's a lot of different reasons for why you might want to use a different version. So the reasons why I had two versions, well, obviously the first one was the one that when I started Blender, it was a 2017-ish, I think, and yeah, I used that one. And then the second one I updated it, and I started using a different plugin that was for the updated version, but I still like the older version because there was a plugin for that one that I liked, so that wasn't updated for the newer one. So you might find third-party plugins for this, or you might just find that your older PC works better with an older version. So I think, as far as I know, you can go back to 2.81 and use that one for this plugin. I think that's when this plugin was made for this Blender. So with that being said, you don't need a powerful PC, but it helps with the rendering and stuff like that. With presets, you can put some really crazy stuff in there, and the thing is, what's going to happen is everything's going to lock up, and the computer's going to sit there and think, and you think that Blender is frozen. You just need to walk away, and the slower your PC is, or if you're using this on a different PC and then importing it to something different, you don't need to even use this on the same PC. So yeah, you've got some flexibility here. We could share files and things like that. We'll get into it later, but yeah, we're talking about which version that you want. So I am going to do 3.2.0 right now. Let's go ahead and download this, and I want to see what this looks like. So let's go ahead and do that. Hopefully that's fairly quickly here. It looks like it's running through. Like I said, I'm not going to script this because I want you guys to, we're going to walk through this together and do this all the way, okay? That's why I said grab the coffee and grab something to eat, because we're battening down the hatches and we're gonna ride this storm out. Okay, so we're gonna install Blender. I accept these terms. Yeah, well, it's open source. You gotta love Blender because I think open source should be the way of the future. We should have almost most things open source. Stuff like definitely stuff open source stuff, like living, planting stuff, things like that. That'd be really cool. I'm all about open source things. So Blender is just really cool that it's free, all this good stuff. It's going to lock us out. We still recording? Yes, we are still recording. All right. Like I said, we're gonna ride out with whatever happens. And whatever happens. And I take water breaks. I drink water just like all the other travelers. Gotta hydrate. All right, I got stuff blinking over on the other screens. All right, finish. Okay, so let's go check out this new Blender here. I'm gonna go ahead and slam him down on my thing down there because that's where I like it to be. And let's go ahead and click this. Can't wait to see what this one looks like. Okay. All right, so there we go. There's our new Blender 3.2.0. And select with left, shortcuts, Blender, spacebar, play, theme, dark. Okay. Tools. How about spacebar tools thing? I mean, if you're planning on using Blender to do something else, this setup is we'll do this setup in just a minute. I think I'm going to put this to tools because I'm not here to animate anything so far, but I could change that later. So I am going to change that to tools. Select with left. I don't even know what that means. I'm going to say left because that's where I'm going to keep it where it's at. Let's hit next. New file, open, getting started. Okay, that's all. You're just your initiate stuff. I think if you just click on the back here, you should initiate with that your standard block there. All right. I think I'm gonna minimize this just for now because we want to go get some other things, and then we gotta want to get Blender set up for us. And then I don't want to set it up yet because we want to go ahead and set this thing up the way we like it, and then we are going to save it like that. So every time that it opens up, it'll pop open the way we like it. So let's not do anything yet, but it's looking okay. I kind of wanted to come in here and just look at it to see how it looked, but it looks like it's got all the tools that I am going to want at my disposal for right now. We might be surprised though. There's globals right here. There should be some tools down here, I thought, but we might get those here in a minute. Okay, so let's go ahead and minimize this. Or we can close it down. We don't need to do anything. Let's go ahead and close it down. So we just went and got the new Blender. So now we need the base builder plugin, okay? All the links for all this will be down in this description. I'll have them in order, okay? And I think I'll try to chunk maybe the video up. You know how they do it in the segments down there at the bottom, Blender add-on, No Man's Sky. So if you have to leave and come back to the video, you have it in sections. I think I can do that. We'll see if I can manage it. We pull it off. I know it's possible. But for me, is it? We don't know. All right, so we're going to go over to nexusmods.com/No Man's Sky mods 984. This is going to be by DJ Monkley. I know this is created by Charlie Banks. So thank you. Oh, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. Charlie Banks, really cool guy. And other people that are involved with this. So what you're going to want to go do is go ahead and download the plugin zip file to give to Blender. Now, if you're here and you want to really take some time, I know Charlie Banks has some videos in here that you can go and watch. I mean, he's going to do some basic building and doing some regular moving over, no tricks or anything like that. And if you're going to take your time or anything else, I mean, those are good videos to start with. I think they might be outdated, but it doesn't really matter because even if you're using the older blender, it looks kind of the same and the same tools are there. It might be at the top and the bottom. I know it's a little bit confusing, but you will get used to this in time. Like I said, it's easy to jump in and start doing some little things, but it's hard to master and get used to and do the big tricks. But you know, at least we're here to pioneer that for you. We've done a lot of the work, these guys here and Ash Factor. You know, I'm not the first one on here, but I'm here to pass the knowledge on, man. So we've got this plugin down here. There's also some more files back here. Let's go ahead and back up and talk about those too. Let's go back. Oh, no. Let's go forward. Oh, into files. So we just downloaded this. Now he's got some optional files here, and we'll show you where these will be at after we install. But you can go ahead and download these two and get them in your download folder. So it'll be a cyber preset pack for street builds that he's worked on. I think he had these in the original, so it's kind of cool to have like these little cranes, and I use them sometimes like a little store piece if I'm doing a big city build. Heck yeah, I'll pull out some of his little ATMs and things like that. He did a really good job on them, and then add some stuff to it or whatever you want to do. It's really cool. He's done that for you. Example presets. He's got, I think, some people donated to this, so I think I remember him asking. I never sent him any files, but I'll include some files too for you guys as well. We're gonna do something for you guys down there in the description. Will be all kinds of goodies, okay? And then some mini builds. He's got some presets inspired by some sci-fi designs. So all of these are going to go into a folder. I'll show you that later. We'll get into it. I have a folder over here that has everything of mine that I backed up. That's the only thing that I backed up. So we'll be talking about that later. All right. So now that you've downloaded everything over here from DJ Monkley, aka Charlie Banks's site over here, we can get ready to install that. So, all right. But what we're going to want is this No Man's Sky base builder zip file. I'm going to go ahead and drag this on to my desktop. Okay. Is what I just did off to the right. So the thing that we just downloaded right here, I pulled off onto my desktop. All right, I don't think we need to open it. I think we open up, Blender opens up zip files by itself. So that's pretty easy to do. Why I've got you here, I have another tool that I like to use, and why we're going to be going into Blender to do the add-ons. I figured we can go through this. Now, if you don't want this, then go ahead and we can just skip this. I'll just make this a quick thing. But this is going to be the link will be down in the description. Peter Laan made a plugin, and I made a request to him to put in a feature that replaces objects. He also has some features in here where it makes it floors, square, circles, symmetrical. Pretty cool tool to get that if you want it. And the replacement tool is really, really golden. And then the fact that he did that for everybody was really, really cool of him. So go give him some thanks, and then go get this tool over here at the link will be down in the description. Okay, this will be something that we are going to put in with the add-on. So I'm going to go ahead and download this zip here too as well, and then I'm going to drag this over right underneath the add-on for the other add-on that we just downloaded. So I'm going to drag that right over there, right by it. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go ahead and minimize this down, and we're going to go back into Blender. Let's open that up. Ta-da! Okay. Now, Blender. You see me just scroll out. Let me just say something really quickly here. If you're on a laptop or something like that, it's doable, okay? But it's really, really helpful. Just go buy yourself some kind of a weird, cheap little mouse that has a the scroll wheel that clicks. I like to have a mouse that has a bunch of buttons. So the more the merrier, but at least those ones. It's got to have that center click. That center click in the scroll wheel is just a golden thing. It's going to save you a lot of time. I mean, what's the point of come over here and getting this Blender plugin that really opens up everything if you're going to use it with a a touchpad? It's really going to set you back. Sorry to say that. It's going to save you a whole bunch of time. Go to a thrift store, buy yourself a $5 mouse, and you're going to be thanking me later for doing that. Because you've got all these spinning options, and that's all just with the center mouse, holding shift and pulling over. That's all the center button there too. I know there's other shortcuts for it, but why do it? You can work so quick with a better mouse. I think that's one of my tips and tricks right there for you. All right, so we need to go tell Blender where to find these add-ons. And we need to probably add some other add-ons that are going to be really cool for you while you're doing these projects. So hopefully, let's see what happens here. All right, let's go into Edit. Let's see. Oh, yeah, because that whole tab is at the top now. That's weird for me. Okay, see, I'm noticing something too, because this right here is usually down at the bottom. We could probably change that too as well. I don't really know how, but for right now, I've been used to these. This right up here has been down here for me for the longest time, but I'll get used to that. So this is very odd for me. I'm out of my element. I've been working in Blender for like this for a while. So hey, this is why I did this, because you guys will be looking up here and I'll be looking down there, and you're gonna watch my video like, what is he doing? So here we are. Okay, I'm going to go up to the very top up here, to the very top tabs up here to Edit. You can see File and you can see Edit right there. We're going to open that up, and we're going to go down to Preferences, and then we're going to open that up. Okay, and then down here in the middle, we can see Add-ons. Let's go ahead and touch on that. And we have a lot of cool stuff in here. So we are going to go ahead and install the two plugins that I have right now over on the desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this little button here for install. And I'm hitting install, and over here on the left hand side Blender has its own little file browser that you can look through, and that's why I said put it on your desktop. So all we have to do is hit desktop. And then you can see down here, Blender can see this. We have No Man's Sky base builder right here. Let's go ahead and touch that and then hit install add-on. Okay, let's go ahead and click this box. Okay. No Man's Sky game engine base builder plugin is in there right now. We still need to do some other things. Let's go ahead and hit install again, because I want to install that tool, the utility from Laan, which is very cool. This is an optional thing that I told. All right, guys, this is future me from the end of the video, coming back to this part of the video to tell you why the utility for this one not install. The original zip folder needs to be unzipped, and then that zip folder, NMS utility, is what you need to point to Blender. So the original file that you download from Laan's site, it comes in a zip folder that needs to be unzipped, okay? And then that zip folder needs to be pointed into Blender. So you can see that I've got the utility here, and the utility is over down here on this side. We will talk about that in another video, but that is how you get it installed. I didn't unzip the original folder, and I kept on telling Blender to look at that original zipped folder, and it wouldn't go any further because it didn't have the information. So unzip that folder, and then point Blender to the zipped folder in that folder. Okay, guys? All right. This is an optional thing that I told you from before, file. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I'm going to hit install add-on, let it do its thing. Okay, official community testing, official, enable add-ons only, all. Somehow I got to get in. All right, Let's get out of that search. There we go. I had to exit out of that. It was in a search. Okay. I was confused there for a moment. All right. So I had to exit out of that search bar to get it to bring up everything. So community, let's go into official here. Okay. So we need to go find the No Man's Sky utility. Community. All right. Touch that community tab, and we're going to go down and we're going to add a few different add-ons that are going to give you some cool things later down the road. Okay. I use these tools, and it's not going to hurt you anything for right now. So we're going to go down and we're going to add anything that says the curve tools, curve extra objects, sampling tree gen, simplify curves, add mesh, landscapes, extra objects down here, add mesh, extra objects, discombobulator. Let's go ahead, just add all the mesh stuff and all the curve stuff. It's not going to hurt anything, and I mean, if you can't use the tool, it won't let you use it. But I know half of these things are really good, and this is where you have like there's no venture, no gain. But I know, but if your two main ones would be the add curve extra objects and add mesh extra objects. But I'm going to add all the mesh stuff there, okay? And then we're going to go down, and so we see the game engine. There's No Man's Sky game engine. That's already clicked off. We already had that in there. And then I think there is the No Man's Sky utility engine is what I'm looking for, I think. This way the videos might be a little bit longer because I still don't see it, but I don't want to get hung up on this extra tool here, and it might show up over there on the right hand side anyway. So let's go ahead and let's dive into what everybody's here for, is the Blender add-on. So when we go over here, let's set up our preferences here for right now. I don't know how to pull this from the top down, so I don't know how to do that. Let's I don't like this timeline, so I usually bring that down here all the way. I think if you right click down here, we can scene statistics. Let's go ahead and check that box. We need that for later on. It's going to tell us the verts, faces, and how many objects that we have. So right down here on the very border of Blender, we can hit the right click button and then check the scene statistics. Okay. Tip trick right there. That's going to be a lot of good information. You're going to use that every single time you come into Blender. You can tell how in-depth a project is. Okay, so next we're going to go over here to this little tiny tab. Okay, you see these little colorful dots right here, your XYZs. To the right of that, there's this little tiny tab. Pull that little tiny tab out. All right, we need that. We don't even need this. We don't need that out like that, but that is kind of cool to have. I think I might leave that out like that. So basically, if we hit this button right here, we have the No Man's Sky tool. All right, so there is the tool right there. We don't have the other, the No Man's Sky utility. That's got to be back in there. But for right now, I've got you guys open, and I show you where the No Man's Sky plugin is at. So that gets us to step one, basically. And so what we're going to do is save this as preferences that we like. I think I'm going to come in here. You don't need this. So let's go ahead and we can delete that, and we can delete this. We can keep our little box there because that's standard. We pulled this down. We added the scene statistics. And we pulled this out so we could see our tools over here. That's where the tools are hidden. Sometimes people get that far and they're like, where is this tool at? Well, it's kind of hidden over behind this little pane over here that you can pull in and out to hide. But we want this thing sticking out every single time. So pull this thingy out to whatever you're comfortable with. I like it right about there. We don't need the timeline down there, so I don't like that. And then I think we're at a point where we could probably save this as our preference, I think. So let's go into preferences, I think. Or hold on here. Save and load. I am trying to find the where how you save your saving your initial settings here. Bear with me, folks. That's this is where I told you the video was going to get long here because I don't remember. Interface, display, editors, transitions, blah blah blah. I want to save what I have here, and it was easy, I thought. Defaults. Save startup file. There we go. So now every time now we should be able to back out of this. Let's hit don't save. Now we should be able to back out of this. Go back into Blender. And it should start up the way we like it. All right. Now you might want to change this around. I think I might be able to. I like this. I liked it when I had this down there at the bottom. I like the view. I don't like looking up at it like that. So I think I'm gonna try to figure out how to get that back down. So I'm not really quite sure, but I know it's possible. I don't know if we can drag it around. It's not gonna happen. But I'm used to this tab. All these tabs right here down here. And it's not going to happen for me. Let's see if we can go get that other utility in there now. Let's go into preferences and go into add-ons and go down this thing very slowly because I must have missed it. And it says NMS utility over here, but I don't know what he has it labeled as. Or what Blender is being told its name is. So we're going to try to go slow. I hate stuff like this. I miss things like this all the time. I would never be good at coding. I would like miss all those little tiny errors. I'm like, oh, I overlooked that one. Oh, I overlooked that one too. Never be good at it. Okay, mesh tools. You know, it might not be compatible with this Blender here. This might be a reason why you'd want to have the older Blender, and that's something that might be an issue there. So I want to go back and actually download the other Blender, and sorry guys, let's go ahead and do that because I think that's something that I want to do. And you might want to as well. So let's go to previous versions here, and we're gonna go down. Let's go down, download every version of Blender at any time. Okay. So now we can go all the way back down to. You can see over here on the left-hand side. I know my picture is in the way, but it goes all the way down to the 3.2 stuff there. I think. Let's go. Let's see. February of 2021. We got a 2.9.1. I think this is one that I was using maybe last. You can have multiple Blenders installed on your machine too. So let's go ahead and get the Windows 64 zip here and get that downloaded. That should go fairly quickly because I think that's why we're not seeing that plugin for it, because it's not been updated. It's not it doesn't have a 3.2 wrapper on it or whatever. I don't know. When was the last time that this was updated or done anything with for the Peter Laan's stuff here? It's been a while. 2021 August. So that version of Blender would have been when it was made, and I'm sure he's Python scripted it or whatever. I don't even know. I'm using big words that I don't understand. But Peter Laan did all that at this time, and I'm pretty sure that that is might even say in here which one it's for. I don't know. There's a README in here. I'm positive that version of Blender will probably work for it. But anyway, let's keep on moving on, I guess. We need to go get the save editor, and the link will be in the description as well. github.com/goat fungus/NMS save editor. Goat fungus is just so cool to say. All right, so you're going to come over here to the Goat Fungus site here, and we're going to hit this code button right there, and let's go ahead and download the zip file. And that's downloading too. We got all these things downloading. So most of them just run off themselves. Nothing really needs to be installed except for, you know, what we did for the add-ons. That's kind of not really intrusive. The save editor works in its own little wrapper. Let's go ahead and talk about the save editor for a moment here, because some people get locked up on this too, and there's a lot of questions in it. So I have very specific save editor videos, so you can check those out. But I do want to say you need to have the Java runtime environment updated on your PC. And yes, you can get the files out of Xbox and things like that too. We might do some videos on that, but as far as it goes for me right now, all I can tell you is there's a tool called Nom Nom that will go into your Xbox PC Xbox, and then maybe I think there's some tools that go into PS4 too. I'm not really quite sure, but I might be able to get you a video out for you Xbox PC users. So that might be something that I'll be doing later. As for now, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to go into the save editor too much, except for just using it and how to get the files into Blender. Building only. I do more in-depth videos on the save editor. Link in description, something in the box. I'll do something, I don't know. We'll do something up there. All right, yeah. And that's downloading there. Blender 2.9.1 is almost done downloading in the background down there too. And I think that really gets the main things that I wanted out of the way, besides the other tool add-on up there. But hopefully the previous version of Blender will take care of that. All right, guys. So let's go over a recap here at a 30-minute. Half an hour mark. Go ahead and get you something to drink. Go ahead and eat something. Congratulations, you've got Blender plug, the Blender in and the plug-in on the newer version. So and pat yourself on the back. Congratulations. Let's do a recap on that. Let's go. We got our Blender here. We went here to Blender. We got our new version here. If you want older builds, we can go into the previous versions tab here at the top. Which is what we done. So we went ahead and loaded this one, and we're about done downloading an older version here. So I can tell you right now that it works all the way down to, let's say, I think it's 2.81 was the one that I got rid of, my earliest version, which would have been December 2019. So I bet you could even use older ones and it'd probably work. So, and like I said, the reasons why you'd want this is some add-ons are made for different versions. So you might, there's a face add-on where I could scan my face and then put it in the build. It's really cool, but it only worked on a certain build of Blender. So that's the reasons why you might want an older version. Plus the, you know, just like we just seen right there with the Peter Laan's add-on utility, it's not going, the newer version is not seeing it. So at least that's what I think so far. We have this other one downloaded, so let's go ahead and open this guy up. And Blender 2.9.1 Windows. Let's go ahead and find the file that it wants here. exe. Is it going to do it from here? All right, so let's make a file over here. I need to unzip this guy into it. Blender 2.9.1. I put it in its little folder here. What is that? All right, I'm going to extract it to its own little folder. I think that's why it's it wasn't reading it, because it's all zipped up. So unzip it. And let's go and find that exe there and get this show on the road. Here we are. We got the application. It's just running from itself, huh? All right. That's fine too. And here we go. So this is the older version of Blender right here. Let's go ahead and see if we can, let's get this one set up just like the other one. So let's go ahead and pull this one out. Let's drop this down. Let's go into the Edit tab. Let's go into Preferences. Go into Add-ons. Let's go ahead and I think we're going to have to install it. So go to Desktops. Let's go to No Man's Sky Base Builder. Install the add-on. No, it should take us, should do it like the other one did, right? No, it doesn't take us to it. There it goes. In-game engine. Let's go ahead and click that on. You can see that it just popped in over there on the right-hand side. Now let's go get this utility and make sure that this thing is working because it's kind of cool. And if you want to use just a different version of Blender, then you have that option. So and I don't see it unless I'm just rushing through everything. So it could be me, or I've got a enable add-ons only. I'm sorry, guys. Still not the most important thing here, and I'll figure that out because it's a kind of a cool tool and I know it works. So I just don't know where the heck it's at or why I'm not finding it or what's wrong with me. So, and it's probably me. It's probably in here, and I'm just am in a not a rush, but I don't want to sit here and sit here and stare at it for you guys. So we're gonna skip that tool for now. And we'll maybe just do a talk about that tool because I have to get it to work because I love the object replacement. It's super cool thing to use. So for right now, we'll go ahead and save our preferences, our defaults on this one here. Save startup file, just so it opens up sort of like this. We're going to go back into our other Blender, just because most of us are going to be using the newer version. I was checking out that older version to see if it was going to put in that utility, but for some reason it's not working, which is kind of sad to me. And because I got rid of it out of the other ones, and now I got to figure out how to fix that one again. So we're just going to omit that out of this video. But it's not a tool that was really. It was kind of an add-on, an extra for you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and do a full-on introductory build. Now that we've got all the tools here, let's set up the save editor to find the files, and we're going to talk about that really quickly. There is a video on that, so I'm not going to go super in depth on that save editor because I have save editor videos that I do all the time, so you'll have to check those ones out. I'll put a link in the description like I said before. All right, so let's go do this. We have that save editor down there. What I'd like to do is put a file on my PC that says with the save editor, and go ahead and extract that save editor in here, and just keep it right on your desktop because it's just you're going to be in and out of that thing a lot, so you might as well just have it there. All right, and you've got your runtime Java updated. You should see the little icon look like a cup of coffee, a little Java, and this is the executable jar file. It's not the application. You're not opening up the save editor file right here. It's going to be the one with a cup of coffee, the NMS save editor jar file right here. Okay, this is the one that you open up to go get your files. So let's go ahead and open this up, and we're going to talk about it really quickly. All right, so now that you got this thing open up, you need to have you need to tell it where to go. And up here in the file, we can go open path. Now, this is for Steam. It's going to be in users, whatever your name is, app data, roaming, hello games, NMS. You can see right here where the address is. The only thing that's going to be different is whatever your name of your PC is. Mine says Krios. So replace that with whatever your PC name is, and that is where you're going to go find your location on a Steam, on your Steam folder. Anyway, so this save editor is open for other things. We're not going to even talk about that right now. I know you can go and get this if you have a different version or whatever else. You need to tell it to find that path. The PC Xbox version is going to be slammed in some Windows file that you have to open up access to. So that's another video. That's a very specialty thing. So we're going to not even talk about that right now. We're just going to do PC Steam users. So that's where you get for that. That's where you tell the save editor to look. And I've already done that. So once you do that, you'll be able to open up these tabs right here. You can see your slots. Okay. And let's go into creative and grab this slot really quickly. And to find your base files, we're not going to talk about anything in here. Save editor is really cool. There's a whole video about it that I do. We're not talking about any of that right now. We're going to go right into just your base files. Okay. So to get the base files, we got to kind of go into a more advanced section. All I'm going to tell you right now is the save editor is going to ask you twice before you exit out when you're manipulating things if you want to save. If you hit a stray button, oops, I hit it with my elbow, oops, I dropped my coffee, oops, the pin hit the, was that a J that I hit, or was that a Q, or I'm not quite sure, don't save it. Exit out and say no, don't save. That's all I can tell you. Another cool thing too is if you do mess up and you and you hit pull the trigger and you save everything, down here on the save file, you can go back in time. The coolest thing about the save editor is that it saves every time you open it and save it, it saves a version of it. So the more you use it, the more of those that you'll have backed up, so you can go back in time, but not your first one. So if you mess up the first time, there's no backup to go to, except for just don't save it. Okay, you don't have to pull the trigger. I do it all the time, man. I make it straight. I'm like, or did I hit the button? I'm not even sure. If I question myself about did I hit something, I don't save. All right. That being said, let's move on. We're gonna go to this edit tab. We're gonna go to raw JSON. Now we're gonna go over here to player state data. We're going to open that up. The little plus sign there. You see these little file trees, just like an old school file tree. I know the old school people are like, all right, I got this. New school people are like, well, what did he hit? What did he hit? It's a little plus button right here by the player state data. We open that up. We're going to scroll down until we get this there's a long folder. Yeah, as you're scrolling down, you can see it's the first long section, and then right in the top middle part of it, it says persistent player bases. It kind of sticks out there, it's that's how I find it. I scroll down until I see the long folder line up, and I already know where it's at, and then we're going to click on that, and there's your bases. But they might be other people's bases too, so yours are the ones that are first. So I am the only, if I have 8 bases, then this will be mine. When I go ahead and click on this, all right, let me show you what I did here. Let's talk about this. So when I touch one of these, it'll show you on the right-hand pane the beginning part of that base. The bigger the base, it's going to be a lot of information over there. You can tell by this little scrog wheel right here. If we hit a base that doesn't have anything on it, like this one here, scrog wheel is big. And we have nothing really there. It's got a little bit of galactic information of locations and stuff like that. User ID, owner, where it's at. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing there except for a base. So if we come over to a bigger one, we can see that it's got all that information up at top. And now we've got timestamp, build door water, position, X, Y, Z, up, altitude, by whatever information that is, and then the next one. Here's another part. And each part that you build on has all this information for X, Y, Z's and things like that. And that's what we're manipulating inside of Blender, basically. All right. We don't want to touch any of that, okay? I'm just kind of showing you what the file is. But basically, we're going to come over. I said I'm going to go over, hit my 8, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to touch my mouse on it. Don't mess with anything. Just make sure that you're hovered over it and hit Control A. Now I've just highlighted everything. And we've gone all the way down to the very bottom. It usually gives you a little bit more information than this. It usually tells you the name right here. Let's go to a different one and do it. Let's go to 4 and go Control A. See, it says name test 1. Last edited by username. It should say Sky Masters in here somewhere, but it doesn't. But it has the name right here, test 1. So that's a test base. Let's go to number 3. Let's do the same thing. It's Cryo City. Home planet, last edited by username. So you get some information, okay? Let's go ahead and just grab this base 8, or let's grab base 8 because it's something big and it's the last one that I was messing with. So I touched 8. And you can notice, like, if you don't mess with anything, it's not asking me, as I jump in between these, it's not asking me to save anything. But watch this. Okay, so I'm on number 3, and I was, like, talking about it, and oh my goodness, I hit a couple FSGSFs. That's not cool. Game is not going to accept that. So watch when I go hit number 8. Hey, man, you changed something. Do you wish to apply these changes to the save file? No, man, I don't. So this is where you fail safe. And then as you back out, it'll ask you again. So you can be like, nah, maybe not. So let's go over to A, to this number 8 here of mine, and I'm going to Control A it, and then I'm going to Control C and copy it. So Control A, Control C, just copy it. All right. Now we can go over and open Blender. I'm going to open up Blender. Go ahead and touch the screen here, and this is already saved the way we saved it. So No Man's Sky Base Builder plugin is over here and it's up. The first thing that we do in the tool would be to import. So right here in the very top of this tab, we see New, Save, Load, Import, NMS. Let's go ahead and import NMS. Probably a big base, so we're going to have to wait. Boom, crazy, right? All right, that's my base that I was working on last, and we don't want that. So I don't know what your base, what you're going to have in there, but you're probably going to have a base computer down for this project, and you're going to go in there if you're following along. You're going to go find one of your bases. It might have this all on it, or you're like, okay, I'm ready to go do whatever to one of my bases. But you're going to see whatever you loaded in. So if you got a fresh base and you got nothing but a base computer, this is all you're going to see. You don't get any terrain or anything, so it's not some magic button that's gonna, I mean, it's kind of cool, but you are kind of limited. But if you have an imagination, you can kind of map out terrain and do some things. So we're going to talk about tips and tricks later in this series, but for right now, we got you going, we got you in there, we got the add-on on, we got your base into Blender right now. Here you are, you're looking at your base computer, pretty cool. I am hitting the center button of my mouse to spin around, and the center jog wheel to come in and out. All right, so we're coming in and out. Center button, I'm holding it down and spinning all the way around. Really cool, up, down. Just kind of come in here and grab this thing and get used to that. Pull on this, spin it. Now, if you want to get over, because there's going to be some times that you want to dissect some things, you have a shift. So if you hold shift and hit your center button, you can skew the whole world over left and right, up and down, and get into some areas. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but the center button on the mouse was a very important thing to get into. We'll talk about some more in-depth tricks and tips later, if I can get that out and say it. Let's get a water break, folks. All right, let's see. Now, I'm not going to go down the whole tool here. I mean, you can kind of just going to see what's going on. We've imported that base, and I erased what was in there, but hopefully you start off kind of the same way. Either you're going to erase some things, you're going to add on some things, or anyway, or you're going to start fresh with just the base computer like we have right here. So we wanted to do a build and get it into the game. Let's do that for you guys. Let's do our first build. Now, in the No Man's Sky plugin over here, we're going to walk down here. It's going to give you some base name. It just says NMS, galactic address. Now we have some tools down here, visibility. I'm not really quite sure what some of this does, and I might not just use it. Duplicate along curve. This is something that where you can. I know the other tool does it. I'm not going to talk about this right now. This will probably be something bigger for later. Snap is going to be cool. We'll talk about that too as we put pieces in. That'll be some more things that we'll talk about. Snap is going to snap one over, and if it has a door on it, it'll change the location. For like a room that has 4 openings, it'll switch it to the previous or next and the source as well. So you can just play around with stuff like that. It's not going to hurt anything. And like I said, there's no venture, no gain. Yeah, get you a base computer, call it test, and come in Blender and have a great time. Colors, it seems to have changed from that. This is new for me. Oh, there they are. There's the rest of them too. The plugin is new for me as well. I've just updated my No Man's Sky add-on plugin, so I'm waiting to see what's new and not here. So everything seems to be here the way it should be. Power and logic. New point, this is for connecting wires. Charlie Banks does some really good videos on that. We might touch into this a little bit later on, but I'm definitely not going to touch that right now. I'm not a big wiring person. Anyway, but there's your power and logic section right there. And then what most people are probably wanting to get into is the build parts down here. We can see, we just hit parts. And let's go ahead and close some of these tabs. I like to keep that open. I don't like power and logic and the colors. And then what I like to do is maybe pull this down. And this is the kind of the way that I'd like it to do. So remember how we did we set up our default. So each time as you're liking the way that you manipulate Blender, you're like, oh, I like this a lot better. Go over here and save it. We can go ahead and save this this as a default. Save startup file. So there we go. We can start up like this. We like it, our settings, and that's it. Let's go ahead and do something simple and get it into the game and do some slight manipulation. Let's make a round floor without any tips or tricks and things like that. We're just going to do this really quickly, and then we'll get it into the game. So where's the floors at? Now this is all changed for me, so I'm not really quite sure, but you could type in some things, but it's kind of funny because you don't really know what they're called. So typing it in doesn't really always do you the best justice because it might not be called a floor. It's got some weird names to it, and they've changed. Concrete floor glass sounds cool. Let's go ahead and grab one of those. Now, we can pull that over like that. You can mess with your windows. You don't have any things to manipulate here. You're kind of moving around. You're like, okay, so how do I move this? Over on the left-hand side, this is our golden little our manipulators over here. They have shortcuts too. So if we want to move up, down, left, right, X, Y, Z's, we can hit this, and you can see now we have this our X, Y, Z movement arrows over here. There's also a shortcut for that, spacebar G. And all these probably have a shortcut too. I just kind of come up here and click them. I'll go in and out of these all the time. So you have your move, rotate, and scale, and transform. Transform kind of has it all in it, but you can kind of mess some things up and transform. But transform gives you every option kind of at once. But depending on how you're looking at the object, you might not want to use this. It's a little bit more surgical to use each of these tools individually. So, but you can do it all right there, and yeah, there you go. And scaling can be done XYZ status now, and I think some of it is honored in game, but if you want to do scaling, I would just grab that piece, or you can just hit S. Whatever's highlighted or object is on there is going to scale up too. So does it say that over there? Spacebar S. Okay. pretty cool. Measuring stuff, I don't really use any of those tools down there, but yeah. And then the tools up here we're gonna get into later. This tab is usually down at the bottom for me. It's bothering me out there, but it's whatever. We'll get used to that here in a moment. So let's do this floor thing. What we wanted to do was move it. So we've talked about how to manipulate some parts within Blender. Let's go ahead and move this one over, see how we can move that. But let's make this round floor. What's a really cool thing in Blender shortcut is to duplicate something. So let's hit Alt D and then hit the right click button to get back into the Blender, because once you do that, it kind of like there's no options in Blender until you hit a button. But there's two pieces down here, there's two floor panels, and I can move this one over now. See, now I can set this one all the way up over here. You can get, we're going to talk about measurements and get a little bit more fine-tuned into things. One thing I want to tell you about messing around with Blender and your bases is you don't want to manipulate your base computer, okay? So as soon as you start getting in here and we're going to start doing some manipulation, we can use the base computer to, we don't ever want to erase the base computer, and we can't move it, we can't do anything to it, or it's going to mess the game up. You can in Blender, I can move the base computer, but it's not going to translate very well. And then sometimes you start duplicating pieces down here, and then all of a sudden you've accidentally duplicated the base computer, and the game gets confused. It's like, what is going on? Then you have no rights within the game to edit your base, and you can't do anything to it besides just delete it. So you don't want to mess with this base computer. You see, when I touch on it, I don't even have options to move it because it doesn't honor it. It's not supposed to move. You can't move it. If I moved this and went back into the game would probably freeze and crash. So it's not going to let you, and you don't want to move this. And the way that you can do this and make sure that you're not going to mess with anything is over here on the right hand side. You can see all your part counts are right up over here. It's going to show you everything that's in there, and find your base flag, and you can click it off. Click that little eyeball. And you can see already right now, we must have duplicated it. I must have duplicated it. And we have multiple base computers there. And then I also hit, what is this? Some milk bottle. So I must have clicked some buttons, or it was in my in the game from before. So we've obviously done something in this file that has messed something up. And that's exactly why I wanted to show you guys there. This was a test base here, so I probably didn't care. And I grabbed some things and I duplicated and I built it fast. So, but if you're really caring and you're trying to do some things right, don't duplicate that base flag, and watch what you're doing with that base flag. You turn the eyeball on and off so you can't manipulate it in here. So now that I have it in here, if I go in here and I grab all these, I can move all these around, and I'm not messing with my base flag, which is what I don't want. So it's just a number one right there. Don't mess with that base flag. Now, let's say I want to snap something back into the center, and I want to make sure that it's right. Let's go ahead and go back into that base flag. I turned it back on here, and I can go to a part. Let's go ahead and click on it, and I can go, let's alloy window. So I can snap a piece in there and make sure that it's 90 degrees and perfectly in the world that I want to use it, and then I can turn the base flag back off and start manipulating this piece here, and then build something cool here, move it out of the way, and then turn my base flag back on and center myself in the world, and I can snap pieces and do things. We're going to talk about that later, but the main important thing is to be able to turn that base flag on and off at will while you're in here, because you can't mess with that. That's just a really important thing that I can't stress enough. All right. Let's go ahead and delete that little piece there. And let's select this one. And you see that I did that the big circle. So that was a C. I can hold C and I get the circle. The cogwheel will go in and out. So we can highlight things. You can get a little surgical. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as we go on through the series. I'm just kind of mentioning some things as we're going through the very beginning here. So if I hold C down, you can see that I can highlight everything. We can also do this another way too. So let's go ahead and just click somewhere in Blender. Let's go click this one. And now if I want this one too, or if I want like to maybe say I want that one, this one, and this one, and I want to erase them, or I want to move them, or I just want to select multiple ones, we can hit Shift. Just like a, any PC shortcut. So boom, now I've got them both selected, and now I can move them at will again. Let's do a round little floor. Let's go ahead and Alt D this, and now we want to spin. We don't want this XYZ movement. We want some rotation. So let's go over to rotate, or spacebar R, and now we have this rotation feature here. I zoomed in. I'm going to hit Shift and slide over. See how I can slide my positioning over to see it? And then I can hit my center button and spin around and see how I want to see this. Okay. And over here on the right-hand side, say we want to look at some positioning. This little square right here gives us our XYZs in the world. So if we start moving this, you can see those XYZs are moving. So this is where you can get very surgical. We're going to talk about that later. We're just going to brush on things as we're going through. We're just making a round floor really quickly. But your main thing is that you got your two pieces here, and we just Alt-D'd them, and then we went over to the rotate section, and we're going to grab this blue bar, the blue piece right here, and we're going to just move it over to where the corner is touching that other one. All right, so we've done that. Let's hit the C button and bring our circle back up. Now I can highlight all of these again. This is where your Alt-D and your selections can save you a lot of time. Let's go ahead and Alt-D this. We just duplicated that, and we did it again. Now we can just save even more time. We can grab this again with our C button and hit the Alt-D and spin it around. Now we don't want to get into a situation where we paint ourselves in the, gotta hit that right button there. You gotta hit the right circle. Okay, so let's do this again. So you see how I just went back? I snapped it back to, because I messed up. Let's say I hit the green one. Oh my goodness, I'm in the middle of spinning it, and I don't like this, but I'm holding the button down. You see how I'm holding it down? If we want to snap back, just back to where you were, just I'm holding the left mouse button right now to manipulate this. But if I want to snap back, I just hit the right mouse button, and it clicks right back to where it was. Or you can do the Control Z, which will go back to the other shortcut. So if we do this right here, and then we let go of the button and finalize it, and it's sitting like this, I've got a Control Z that gets us back to where we were at. So yeah, a lot of boo-boos are going to happen. That is very important, okay? All right, so I know it's a lot to take in. So we're going to keep on spinning this around over here. We've almost got our circle. Let's go ahead and Alt-D this one more time. Hit the right click. When you when you do that, you just like, it goes into like into a freeze mode until you click a button. And the right click always just recenters or recalibrates Blender into its default. I'm waiting for you. All right, so we've got this little gap here. I don't want to overlap it or anything. Let's do this right. Let's go ahead and grab the opposite ones. Let's grab this one and then hit the Shift and grab this one and hit the Alt-D. Right click to recalibrate, to get it back into manipulation mode, and then pull this one over. So we just made the full circle here. And let's get it up off the ground, because we don't want it on the ground, because right now it's on base computer level right now, or wherever you want it. So I'm going to grab everything and just put it up in the air. So I grabbed everything. We're still in rotate mode, so I want to go into XYZ mode here, what's it called? Move mode, okay? And we can take that up. Now we got this round floor sitting there, and it's pretty cool. To get that back into your game, what we're going to do is we're going to, at the very top over here, to get them into Blender, we import that file, and now we want to export that file, and it's going to put it in our copy paste folder basically. So we're going to hit export, and now it is in our export. It's in our copy paste area. So all you have to do is just hit Control V in whatever area that you want to put this base back into, okay? So we can just minimize this And remember that we were in our save editor here, and our file that we were manipulating is still highlighted right here. Now that we're touching this window, all we have to do is hit delete. Now, number 8 base that we were just manipulated has a blank space sitting here with nothing in it. All we have to do now is hit Control V. Now that pastes the new file that we just manipulated with all these little pieces that are all changed and everything. And then we can just touch anywhere on here. It's going to say the JSON file has changed. Do you wish to apply these to the save file? Yes, I do. And then we're going to go ahead and close all the way out. And we're going to close out one more time. And it's going to say, hey, are you sure? As long as you didn't make any messes up or boo-boos, that's it. We're going to hit yes. And then you can go into your game, and wherever your last base was at will be changed and manipulated. So that is a walkthrough all the way through. Besides getting the one add-on in, which was just a bonus thing, which I'll probably do a separate video. We're going to talk about more tips and tricks and some more advanced things in Blender. So I think we've did fairly well at keeping this video around an hour, so it's not too bad for you guys all the way through. All right, so look forward to those other videos. We did the full walkthrough. You made something, you put it into the game, get comfortable with just playing around, make you a test build, manipulate it around, get used to Blender, get the muscle memory. The center cogwheel is important. Yeah. Blender videos are going to be kind of weird because No Man's Sky is a very specific tool, and Blender videos will confuse the hell out of you if you go watch them. Just like if a Blender user comes over here and watches this video, he's going to be like, what the hell are you doing? So it's kind of funny. Anyway, guys, as always, I'll see you on the next video. Call someone up and tell them you love them. I'll see you guys on the next series. Be looking out for those. There'll be shorter videos. This is the introductory walkthrough for our Blender add-on. So I'll see you guys on the next video.